So we're back with Business Morning, and you saw Nigeria's latest mystery index. Ogun State is one of the third performing in the country in terms of that index reading. And of course, you heard from Damilare there, Adesola from FDC, talking about the industries and Ogun State taking advantage of being Lagos' next neighbor. So we got a little conversation with the Commissioner for Commerce and Industry, Bimbo Ashiru, and that's with Channel's business news producer, Temple Ashaju, asking him a few questions about what's going on in Ogun State and what's the outlook on 2018. Let's take a listen to this interview.
Look at the parameters and I look at the things we've been able to achieve. You could see that our focus is more to consolidate on the previous achievements. And if you look at the budget we had in 2017, about 200-something billion, and the one in 2018 is about 300-something billion. So we are focusing on increasing our IGR. We are focusing on ensuring that we are on the right track to ensure that we're able to meet all our demands. If you remember vividly, Mr. Excellency said that all the projects that we embarked upon will actually be completed on or before 2019. So we're ensuring that we meet that and we achieve that. And then the only way to do that is for us to be able to drive our IGR. Remember vividly when we came in 2011, our IGR was about 700 billion. But now we're hovering between 6 and 7 billion. Our target is to get to up to 1 billion, up to 10 billion and above. So if we have that, we'll be able to meet our demands, meet our needs. And so those are the areas we are looking at, the parameters we are working on, and to ensure that we achieve that.
So talking about this infrastructure project, a lot of businesses have been expressing concern as to how it constitutes hiccups to their businesses. What do you make of this situation?
Ogun State is now the industrial hub of Nigeria. 75% of FDI that came into manufacturing, that came into this country, they're all based in Ogun State. So what I'm saying in terms of ease of doing business is that the businesses are now finding Ogun State as the home to be. You could say that over 150 companies have opened shops in the last 6 years, and we have some companies that have not been commissioned. Over 30 of them are waiting to be commissioned. They are waiting for Mr. President to come and commission those companies. And if you remember vividly, Ogun State, during the last regime, was the only state in the country whereby Mr. President visited most of commissioned industries. And he said that he congratulated the governor and the good people of Ogun State for creating that environment for business to thrive. So what I'm saying in essence is that businesses are happy to be in Ogun State. Yes, we have there are few things that we need to get done and everything. First of all, when we came in, security was an issue. Armed robbers were having field day. Banks were not opening shops because they were actually attacking them and everything. And we look at that. This Excellency arranged that, and they brought in about 14 APC, armored personal carrier, and they were all located in different areas. It's now history, because those armed robbers that were sent packing from Lagos thought Ogun State is their abode. But now they've moved out of it. So, because for any enterprise, for any business, any investment, security of their investment is very key to them. And because of that, we've been able to assure them that Ogun State is safe. Because look at all these housing projects we're embarking on. Because we find out that most of these companies, talk of any company in this country, all the multinationals, and their investment is in excess of $400 million. But they are out in Ogun State. But most of the MDs, the executives of the companies, they made the money in Ogun State, but they live in Ikoyi, they live in VI. So what we're trying to do is to ensure that we do these housing estates whereby they can actually live in Ogun State. They work in Ogun State, live in Ogun State. Look at the number of people that are coming into Lagos on a daily basis. The exodus of people coming into Lagos, they work in Lagos, but they live in Ogun State. So they put pressure on our own infrastructure in Ogun State. So the point is that how do we ensure that these things are done seamlessly? And not only that, we are looking at the future. We are putting the standard in place whereby all the things that need to be done, when whoever takes over in the next regime from 2019, we have a template. That's why we call it Ogun Standard. People will come in, and that's why we involve the civil servants. We call them our landlords and landladies, because they are part of the mission to rebuild Ogun State. So they are part of the people that we know that these are the things we need to do, these are the things we need to achieve. If we cannot achieve that together, then there's going to be a problem, because we are going to leave them behind, and they are going to say, oh, this is the standard, this is the way. So you can't change it. No deviation anymore. You can only improve on what we have on ground.
Ogun State, as it were, was ranked as 35 in terms of the best place to do business. Now you have a new projection to be #1 or at least #2. What are the strategies you're putting together to be able to achieve this goal?
The most important thing for business is to create that enable environment in terms of infrastructure, We are creating good roads, ensuring that you see, because if you don't have proper infrastructure in place, you don't create necessary amenities for these businesses. They won't be able to have it. They won't be able to strive in that. And at the same time, another thing that puts them away is the issue of taxation. I mean, now we've been able to harmonize it. The ministries that are entitled to it, and the days whereby people put spikes on the road is over. So what we are doing is to ensure that we put the right things in the right places so that people will see that we are transparent to them. And let me be honest with you. Businesses, we introduced them, demand, all the stakeholders, manufacturers of Nigeria, the NASIMA, everybody, we meet with them at least on quarterly basis. And His Excellency to ensure that he has breakfast with them at least once or twice in a year. It has helped because during that time, they all come in and drop all the problems they have. We mention them, and by the time they come the next time, before they come, we note them, and we ensure that we've solved those problems. Because the most important thing for business is that they want an enabling environment for their business. So if you don't create that enabling environment for them, they will run away. They will look for other alternatives. They will look for other options. But what we're trying to do is to ensure that they come in there and they look at, and I'll be honest with you, the testimonies we are getting so far shows that we've been able to create that environment for them. And that's the reason why, because of the testimonies we are getting, they are now telling other people to come into Ogun State. They bring in business. Look at the largest American investment. It's in Ogun State now. I remember one of the companies that we went to, the company has been in Nigeria for 38 years. They assemble vehicles, the first assembly plant they have in Nigeria. And no governor has ever visited. So His Excellency visited our place. They were so happy. It encourages them. And now, what we try to do is that we patronize made in Ogun State things. So it gives them, for example, once we are doing things in Ogun State, we ensure that all the products we use are made in Ogun State. So it creates that environment. People now feel that, oh, Ogun State is an abode, is a home for us. But we are trying to, you could see the housing estates we are doing, all those buildings and everything, so that they can now come in and live in Ogun State, as against living somewhere else. And I will give you a good example. What Ogun State is, what New Jersey is into New York. And that's what we're trying to ensure that we put in place in right perspective. And by God's grace, we will get there.
Sometimes ago, we heard reports that entrepreneurs are beginning to exit the Ogun State Free Trade Zone. How true is this?
I was there recently, about a few months ago, and I